A thread by Brian the Great. What evidence is there that former U.S. Attorney Jeff Jensen was limited to only looking for General Flynn case files to give to Sidney Powell while he was inside both the Mueller Special Counsel and FBI headquarters? The mistake people have been making for some time now is to see all these U.S. attorneys involved in the Spygate cases working independently of each other. Durham's running the Spygate investigation by himself. So was Huber. So was Jensen. So was Bash. I am coming to believe none of these U.S. attorneys were actually running their own investigations independent of each other. I now believe they were all working under a de facto Durham Special Counsel's office. Huber, Jensen, and Bash were Durham investigators, but they didn't admit this. It was assumed because his investigation of Clinton campaign, Clinton Foundation was his own independent thing. When Huber was done, he'd release his own findings. Instead, he made a handoff to Durham. Remember how low key that was covered? Oh, Huber, such a disappointment. Same thing with Bash. It was assumed Bash was doing his own independent investigation into the Flynn unmasking and the other unmaskings of Trump transition team members like Pompeo, Sessions, and Nunes. Ah, Bash ended with no report. How disappointing. The only one of the three U.S. attorneys publicly tied to Spygate that hit pay dirt, supposedly, is Jensen, due to his finding the exculpatory Flynn case documents and handing them off to Sidney Powell. The documents Jensen found blew up the case and ended it. Well, I'll ask again, what evidence is there that while he was digging around inside the Mueller Special Counsel's office and the FBI 7th floor files, Jensen could only see or document files related to the Flynn case? What other cases were the Mueller Special Counsel's office and the FBI top floor pursuing that Jensen would be able to find in there if he was looking? Carter Page, Roger Stone, George Papadopoulos. How about this? Case files about FBI counterintelligence investigations started up before Crossfire Hurricane launched. That D class on Thursday, where Strzok is talking to Lisa Page about other federal counterintelligence Trump Russia collusion cases that were already in play before Crossfire Hurricane launched on July 31st, 2016, was huge. You think there were any files in the Mueller Special Counsel's office, FBI HQ, about those? Now, I know what you're thinking. Same people who didn't tell you Durham was already hot on the trail of the Spygate plotters in April 2017 also just told you over a week ago that Durham didn't get handed his own special counsel's office until October 19th. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the DOJ would hide the fact that Durham was running a de facto special counsel's office of his own long before they made the paperwork official and wrote a letter about it? Because it's starting to look that way to me. Huber's investigating for Durham. Jensen's investigating for Durham. Handing off documents to blow up the Flynn case was a side bonus. Bash is investigating for Durham. Durham's always been the guy. And nobody could leak that there was a new special counsel's office because it wasn't official. There was no official letter or document that could leak where anybody could point to it and say, holy crap, Durham's just been handed the authority of a special counsel, and now he's got all these other U.S. attorneys investigating cases for him. They actually never have been independent of each other. They've been connected all along. The Spygate plotters were kept in the dark as much as possible. So was the corporate media, which would have crossed heaven and earth to sabotage a new special counsel's office if they'd known about it. Look again who the targets were of what I now believe has been a clandestine Durham special counsel's office for the past several years. Look how connected and powerful all these people are. Had a Spygate special counsel's office been openly declared in 2017, 2018, 2019, what would have happened to it? If a Spygate special counsel's office had been openly and transparently declared in 2017, 2018, 2019, or even early 2020, do you need me to tell you what forces would have instantly been brought to bear on the poor fellow in charge of it and all his investigators? Let's ask Ken Starr. Remember the circus the Starr investigation was turned into back in the 1990s? How Democrats and the media went after him and his team with a vengeance? And we didn't even have the media atmosphere we have today. Whitewater was a tempest in a teapot compared to the massive scope of the Spygate scandal. Spygate is only a thousand times worse than Watergate was. How would you shield the top guy and his top investigators from what Democrats and media would want to give to them good and hard? If Durham shows the full evidence of their crimes and prosecutes, that's a tectonic shift right there. The swamp would fight with every dirty trick at its disposal to keep that from happening. How do you protect the Spygate investigation and the Spygate investigators? You seed the media, both on the right and on the left, with disinformation that nothing is happening. Sessions lost his nerve. Whitaker was a patsy. Barr is a disgrace. Durham, Huber, Bash, Jensen, all useless. Spygate investigation went nowhere, just killing time, etc. Worked like a charm. I can wait to be right. Durham's special counsel's office is hard at work, and Trump will be sworn in on January 20th. And after that, it's going to dawn on a whole lot of people that the Durham special counsel's office is quite real.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.